Hello, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. I'm with Sid today, and we're going to be talking from profit to reason. So, Sid, where can people find you?
Mohasseb.com, my last name.com is my main site, and sid@mohasseb.com is my email.
Excellent. So, Sid, what when we talk about from profit to reason, what are we talking about there?
We're talking about a shift in the mindset. We have built companies over centuries based on the value that we deliver to people, and that's not just customers. And we have over the years have focused on outcomes as opposed to what drives those outcomes. Profit is an outcome. Revenue is an outcome. That is, somebody else makes a decision to pay us. Somebody else in the company makes a decision to be productive, to contribute, to be innovative. Somebody makes a decision to invest in us and believe in our vision. Somebody, as a partner, believes in us to work with us and provide, and a society that is conducive to us growing and facilitates that growth. All of those lead to outcomes and profits, but we've forgotten the reasons of why those things, how those things work, and how profits are made.
Because you have a view, haven't you, that things are the wrong way round. We need to flip things in terms of the way that we see companies and the people, and so talk about that.
So if we look at why we make money, let's just take customers because it's the easiest to. You could have 100 salespeople, but if you don't have something that a customer, whether it's a business to business or it's an individual, sees some reason to purchase, and in their own mind, they have a reasoning. They will not reach into their pockets and give the company any money. And if they do not come to that decision and they would not trigger that transaction, we can't put a gun to their head to pay us. Now, there are some extremes. You have cancer uncurable, and I hold the pill that fixes you. So
Yep.
I've changed the power a little bit, but I still have a choice of dying. So people have choices, and they make those choices based on a series of reasonings that they apply. Let's take a couple of simple examples. My wife loves Amazon, and the other day she was trying to buy something, and going through this thing and says, "Oh, this guy is about $10 cheaper than this guy online." And I said, "Well, what, are you buying it from them then?" She said, "No, I'm buying it from Amazon." I said, "But it's cheaper, isn't it? Aren't you looking for deals?" She says, "Yeah, I am." I said, "Then why are you buying it from Amazon?" She says, "Well, if it doesn't work, I can return it and nobody questions me. And then my credit card is at that place, so it's safe." So it's not just a matter of functionality that people buy things. Somebody buys a Louis Vuitton bag and pays $3,000-4,000 for it, not because it has a functionality of putting your stuff in it and taking it from point A
Yep.
to point B. They have an affinity to that brand. They think that brand, if they take it to a party, tells people that, hey, I've made it, I've good taste. Uh, People don't buy cars because it's a means of transportation. They buy it because their own reasonings. I like my kids to be safe. I buy a Volvo. I like to impress girls. I buy a red Ferrari. There's different reasons that people engage with companies, and those reasons are uniquely theirs. If we satisfy the value that they're looking for, if we find out the value that they're looking for, and we provide that value, then the business will boom. It's very simple. But a lot of companies focus on what we can do, what we have, as opposed to what they need. Now, we do this customer survey 360 this and 360 that, which is fine. But again, it's the assumption that people are the same. Uh, people that bought things 5 years ago, they may be the same age, between the ages of 24 to 34, but they're not the same people because their world has changed,
Yeah.
their needs have changed. And this goes to the uniqueness of each one of us. Now, we think as a company we're an entrepreneur. I make the case that we're all entrepreneurs, because if you look at the real definition of entrepreneurship, an entrepreneur, and this was done in 1700s by a Frenchman. He first defined an entrepreneur. He actually created the word and said an entrepreneur is someone who has something and wants to exchange it with something of higher value, knowing that there is risk. Someone who has something, the definition of something is unclear, who wants to exchange it with something of higher value. Higher value is also undefined, knowing that there is risk. Now, if you take that, all of us, every day, we're trying to exchange what we have with something better. That customer is trying to exchange that dollar or $1 million with something that he or she feels is of higher value. Now, if he believes or she believes, like my wife did, that the risk is lower at point A than point B, going to Amazon, then she chooses that because of their risk profile. Somebody else may have said, oh, $10 is a lot. I'll take the risk and go to the other side and buy it. So there's a definition of risk. Everything we do, we step out of our home, there's risk. So basically, we're all entrepreneurs. The customers are entrepreneurs and the employees are entrepreneurs. So the employees, we think that we give people a job. Yes, we put together a nice little job description, and then we bring him in, and we have some KPIs that we've developed that we think these are all wonderful, but they accept that job based on their own reasoning. Meaning, in their mind, they didn't commit to what you wanted them. They committed to what they could deliver or what they want. They think, oh, I'm worth $100 an hour. You're giving me 80. I'm just going to give you 80% of me. They decide if at 2 o'clock in the morning they're going to wake up and say, aha, if I do this and this and this, they decide what productivity is or they bring to the table. You could push them, you could yell at them, you could give them bonuses or not give them bonuses, but they decide. They decide how much time they spend during the day thinking about their family. They decide what else are they doing. They are in complete control, and that's the exchange that happens on the other side. So the customers exchange based on their own value, giving you the money. The employees exchange based on their own value system and their own reasonings,
So,
providing with the
what
ability.
you're saying is that we think at the moment that we're giving people jobs, but actually it's the other way. It's the employees that's making a decision to give you their time and value.
Absolutely. You think that's different? Can you hire somebody without their decision to be a part of your organization? No, you can't. The same thing applies to partners.
When you talk
Part,
about partners, you're talking about people in the supply chain.
yeah, people in the supply chain, even the guy who cleans your office, he makes a decision of how much effort he's going to put into your office because he likes you or he doesn't like you. He thinks you're messy or he did. You pay him enough or you don't pay him enough. Every partner, everybody that comes in touch with us that makes us successful is contributing to creating that value that leads to that exchange with the customer. So those partners, let's say the supply chain partners, I don't know, you're buying this, making this phone. The cover of this phone is built by somebody else.
Yeah.
Built by a partner. That partner decides how much should I sell you this? Based on what? Based on who you are, how quickly you pay, what your volume is. and maybe because you both like the Rams or the Bears, or you're both soccer fans, or you both were born at the same place, or there's 1,000 reasons, and or because you're Apple or IBM, and if they put your logo on their site, they get some credibility because you pay on time. Because right, there's 1,000 reasons they make those choices to be a good partner for you. You can squeeze them as much as you want, and guess what? After a point, they're going to start prioritizing somebody else.
Yeah.
They will do that until the point that they're desperate. But then they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't give you all that they can. They give you a portion because of that exchange value. The same thing happens with investors. Investors uh, make investments not only because they want to make a return. There's different kind of return. Some people are looking for an exit. They want to have a startup get 100 times their money. Some are happy with dividends. And even those guys are different. I like to put my money in a CD, get 4%. You like to put it in a junk bond and get 8%. So we're all different.
Yep.
We sometimes make investments because we like the guy. We think is the cause is important. So investors are the same. They have certain reasons, and that's why they engage with you. And if you don't have the working capital and the investors aren't there, you're not going to be able to make a profit. Now, when I say investors, it's also you as the owner and your wife or your husband. You make certain decisions based on how I like to have a boat, or you make a decision based on the kids are going to college, or you make a decision. You guys make a decision as a unit that's owned. Are you there, Tim?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Um.
You you seem
So.
you
So.
seem to have escaped for a minute there. So I was
Yes.
talking about the investors, and you guys are also investors as the owners of the business, and you make those
Yes.
decisions based on your own reasons. And
Yes.
lastly, is the society, which operates in a similar fashion.
So explain to us about the impact of society on the company then.
So we operate in a community. No, here's the thing: unless you like to build your own company, build your own product, buy your own product, pay for your own product, you don't have a business.
Yeah.
There are people involved, and they again, we talked about the customers and the employees and the investors and the partners. There's also this society that you operate within, and we exchange with the society. Some companies have environmental issues and some don't. Some bring jobs to a place, and the city would give you tax breaks. Some, and the city is or the environment is supposed to give you good labor pool, or a safe environment, or good policing, or less crime. You offer philanthropic things for the. You have an exchange with the community, and that also is based on a set of reasons.
And I guess the employees will spend money on coffees and dry cleaning and things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there is an exchange, if you could say. Some people don't like the word exchange. They say, hey, you're making it transactional. Well, let's call it swap. Let's call it bartering. Let's call it a trade. Let's call it a mutual reciprocal behavior. It's not about the transaction. It's about the reciprocal value that's given and taken, which leads to some behaviors. Now, The funny thing about this, or the challenging thing about this, is that this thing is always in flux, and there's conflict between these things. I can give more return to my investor, make him happy, do that swap in a way, do that trade in a way that makes him happy, but then I'm taken away from from my employees,
Yep.
or I have to cut costs or cut corners on my product and shortchange my customer. I can do nothing. I can put all the stuff in the sewage or in the water running by, and then I'm doing less for the environment. But guess what? I saved a lot of money. So the key is this. The key is not only there are, I call these the 5 pillars of any business. Doesn't matter
Yep.
the size. They all have this 5, which is the customers, the employees, the partners, the investors, and the society.
Yep.
These 5 pillars all are operating based on a set of reasons. And if you meet those reasons, you will have a flourishing business, and you will make profit, no doubt about it. There is no question. If you deliver the right thing to people, they will exchange, not because of you, because of them, because they too are entrepreneurs, and they're trying to exchange what they have with something of higher value. So, but this is always in flux. The people that work for you today are not the same people before the pandemic. Gen Z is different than, and not all Gen Z are created equally. People in India, if you're global, are very different than people in China. They're very different than expectations of our teenagers, or our youngsters here in the US or in UK. We're all different. We're all very different. We're different as customers, we're different as employees, we're different as partners, we're different as investors. You say, in terms of an investment, a year ago, 2 years ago, a 3% return on an investment may have been fine. Today it's not fine. So what we have is a series of reasons that have to be harmonized in a way. It's not balanced. You could never get to a balance. A balance uh, offers an illusion of equality. There is no equality.
But
It's
your 5
harmonized.
pillars are ultimately levers, aren't they? That you can pull.
That is exactly right, and that is the job of a leader. The job of a leader is to harmonize these different pillars in a way, that it allows the exchanges, the trades, the swaps to happen with an understanding that one pillar, if it's damaged, if it's not working properly, we are compromising our ability to maximize our profit or revenue.
Mm.
If any one of these pillars, if I mess up the employee part, they're not going to be as productive. If I mess up the customer part, obviously they're not going to buy. If mess up the partner part, they're not going to give me the best costing, the best delivery, the best quality. If I mess up the investor part, they're not going to give me money. They're not going to help me with working capital. So any one of these that are out of whack to a point that it begins to damage the effectiveness of the organization will compromise your profit. Now, some people say, well, look at all the companies, they have a problem with their employees. Yeah, that's true. That is true. They're focused on profits, and they're compromising on one pillar. Imagine if they didn't. Imagine if these people were actually bringing their best to the company. Could they have done better?
Yeah.
So the question is not, oh, I'm making money, so what the heck? Is, are we truly, truly realizing the potential of our enterprise? And if you want to truly leverage that, truly realize that, we have to focus on the reasons. We may get lucky and meet the reasons, or have some people who are working for us that need the rent. But at the same time, they may be doing another job someplace else on the side, and we don't know it. And we think, oh, look at us, we got such a great labor cost. Now, if you look at this, you could look at companies around the world, and you could see when these things get out of whack, what the effect is.
Mm.
Look at General Motors and the top three companies, car companies in US. About 6 months, 8 months ago, they were doing $20 billion of profit every quarter, some outrageous numbers. The CEOs were making money, the market was happy, investors were happy. But guess what? They ignored the employee side. And boom, in a span of 2 weeks, they lost $9 billion. The economy was hurt by $9 billion. Uh, and and not all organizations, by the way, are created equally.
Yes.
You look at a Twitter versus versus a SpaceX. Same boss, different mission,
Different. Yeah.
different people, different desires, different value exchange parameters. One has lost 83% of their revenue. The other one is sending people to Mars and all over the place because one has a mission, the other one doesn't.
Sid, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today about From Profit to Reason. Remind people where they can get hold of you.
They can get hold of me at sid@mohasseb.com. And if I may just use this plug on something that's I'm
Of course.
contemplating. Um, in about a couple of months, probably beginning of January, we're contemplating creating what I call the Academy. It's called Anabasis Academy. Anabasis means moving the base upward. Anabasis. And it's all about the mindset. And we talk a little bit, a lot about this kind of stuff, as well as drilling down about dealing with risk and dealing with all the stuff that makes us, makes us grow, makes us go to the next stage. And the first 1,000 people have been sponsored to come in at zero cost.
Okay.
And if people are interested, they can send me an email. I'll send them to the waiting list area. They can sign up. It does have 4 qualifying questions, which are very
Okay.
simple, which is, are you things like, are you ready to evolve? Are
Yeah.
you ready to commit? Are you ready to change the way that you were thinking? Because I believe it's not about motivating people, Tim. It's about provoking people. The power to do is entirely theirs. But they have to discover. They have to discover that they too are an entrepreneur wherever they sit within organizations or society.
We've had one comment saying, Ali Shami, too bad I only saw the end of the talk. Great discussion and points made. So thank you. And
Too
Sid, thank
bad
you.
we didn't have you from the beginning.
Absolutely. Sid, thank you so much for coming on and discussing this today.